one of the biggest things that needs to happen in connection with seeking a job is interviewing, and that's what we're here to talk about today. Before we get into the guts of it, I have a few preliminaries that I'd like to go over. The first is the interview is kind of a curious interaction in its way. It's a delicate dance between two people who are sort of trying to work out a bargain or an agreement, and both of them are buying, and both of them are selling. The company that's doing the interview, or the organization, they're selling themselves, and they're in the business of hiring somebody. Otherwise, there wouldn't be an interview going on. The interviewee, the person who's being interviewed, if you will, that person is selling himself to the company. He's also trying to figure out whether he wants to go to work for this company. So it's an interesting dynamic. You got two buyers and two sellers, both in the same room, trying to make a deal with one another. But that is what it is. You are both a buyer and a seller. The company or organization you interview with is also a buyer and a seller. Everybody's trying to do the same thing at the same time. Let me also mention that if you are an interviewee, and I'm going to assume for purposes of my discussion today that you're an interviewee, you're a law student looking for a job, and while, yes, you are buying and you are selling, my remarks will be oriented around you as the seller. That's just the way I'm thinking and the way I think you may be thinking. And frankly, in the job market for lawyers today, I think it's probably a good idea that we both be thinking that way. When you're in an interview as a seller, the buyer's on the other side of you, I think it's interesting and important to think about what is in the mind of that person on the other side of you. What are they trying to figure out? And I think there is an answer to that question. They're trying to figure out three things. First of all, are you a likable person? They're figuring they're going to be, if they hire you, they're going to be working with you not just for a little while or for a day or two. They're going to be working for you for a long time, maybe even for a life. Are you a likable person? Do they want to be in the same room with you for hours at a time? Do they want to spend days and nights with you? And do the other people in the organization want to do the same thing? Likability is a big deal in all of this. And I think the first thing that an interviewer is trying to figure out about you is whether they like you. Simple as that. Next, what they want to know about you is, are you a producer? Are you going to bring value to that organization? Not only do they like you, but also, are you the kind of guy, the kind of woman who is going to produce for them, who is going to accomplish something for them? Whether it's a nonprofit or a for-profit or anything else, any organization that's looking to hire you is looking to hire you because they want you to bring them value and get stuff done for them, produce for them. So the second thing, are you a producer? The third thing is maybe a little unique to the law industry, but maybe not. The third thing an interviewer on the other side of you is trying to figure out is, if they give you an offer, are you going to accept it? And if you accept that offer and come to work for them, are you going to be there for the long haul? They're really interested in that because, frankly, no organization these days is in the business of free training for entry-level employees. If you go to work for anybody, they want to know that you're coming to work for them for the long term. You're not just coming to try them out and then move on to your next job. So, those three things. Are you likable? Are you a producer? Are you going to accept the offer and be there for the long term? That's what I think the interviewers are trying to figure out from you. The reason why I say that is, if you understand what they're trying to figure out, you can think about how you would like to present yourself and present yourself in the way that's going to work for you in the face of those three questions. One more thought that's worth sharing, and this is by way of confidence and feeling good when you're in an interview. If you've been invited to interview at a company or at an organization of some kind, you're pre-qualified. They wouldn't have invited you there if they didn't think that you're a candidate and that you might be somebody that they want to hire. They've seen your resume. They've learned something about you. There may be references already. In any event, they've already made a decision that you're a candidate. So that's kind of nice to know when you go to an interview. You've already pre-qualified to be a successful candidate in that interview. And the final preliminary, before we get into the guts of it, an interview is an interview. They're all the same. A callback interview is an interview. An on-campus interview is an interview. If you're having coffee with somebody at Starbucks who has a job that you'd like to get, you're in an interview. Anytime you're interacting with somebody who is in a situation involving a job that you'd like to have, and you're in the market for a job, you're in an interview. So a lot of the things that I'm going to have to say about interviews are true about on campus, in office, at an organization, at a place where you've been able to come up with a job interview. The things that I'm going to say apply to all of those things. And keep in mind, if you're looking for a job, you're oftentimes in an interview and on stage, and you ought to conduct yourself with that in mind.